What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. So, of course, whenever I get something new, little, accessory or a system or something, I always open it up. But the one time I didn't was with that Genesis Mini Tower, and it turns out I should have at least opened that Model 1. I did check it out. I even took a picture of the inside, and Sega had some fun with this this whole thing, as you're seeing here, where they had a printout of the circuit board in there, along with the drive with a Sonic CD disc laying in there. Good little detail there from Sega that, to be honest, most people won't miss. Basically, in any of those towers, there is a copy, in spirit anyway, of Sonic CD resting inside. As for today, though, we have to go over quite a few things, including an E3 leak, not the leak from before where they doxed everyone, but a leak showing some new changes coming to try to revive basically what appears to be a declining convention for the industry and fans. And also I wanted to talk about some new light about why we have those games on the eShop that are like 20, 30 cents, discounted 99%, because there was a very interesting write-up that came out from Kotaku from a ton of different developers on the eShop explaining exactly why they do it. And it is a very interesting loophole and strategy to get a whole lot more eyeballs on your game. As always, guys, enjoy these videos, make sure to hit the like button. It does help out, and get subscribed so you can stay up to date on all the gaming news happening in the gaming world. And we're gonna start today with Rockstar, because, well, if you're a PC gamer, you have a new launcher to check out. I know, right? Another launcher. It's the Rockstar Launcher that appears to be their social club that's kind of been converted to a launcher now. And the way they're trying to get people to sign up and download it and use it is by giving away a copy of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, which of course is one of the best games ever. But I feel like most of us probably own it because there are several times where it was like $3 on Steam, maybe less, maybe part of a big bundle anyway. But technically, if you don't have San Andreas and you don't mind getting another launcher, you can go download the Rockstar Launcher and get San Andreas. This also makes us all believe that Red Dead Redemption 2 is probably coming to PC possibly soonish. I'm thinking in 2020, and a lot of that has to do with them not wanting to give up a cut of 30% to Steam or anywhere else. So that makes sense there. Just another launcher, but you shouldn't really be surprised because none of these companies want to give up, none of these companies want to give up even 10% of their overall revenue. They'll just make another launcher to get you to buy from them there. Oh, and if you missed it, Castle Crashers did launch on the PlayStation 4 and the Switch yesterday. Awesome game. I think everyone should be checking it out if you want a fun hack and slash with RPG elements to it. You do level up as you play through it, but it was out way back when on the 360, and I really liked it there. This version, of course, on the Switch and the PS4 is 60 frames per second, high definition assets and everything, so it looks very, very clean. I was just playing it yesterday, and I wanted to throw that in there just in case anyone missed it with all of the mayhem going on, because there are so many games hitting all at once right now. Like I said, I was playing Borderlands 3 and I was like, oh yeah, Castle Crashers is out. Let me go grab that. It's $15. It's pretty good. It has 4-player co-op on the same screen. I think it's worth checking out if you've never played it, or if you have, it might be worth going back to and seeing how it looks now and plays. We also had a new demo show up on the PlayStation Store. This is mostly for fans of the Trails of Cold Steel games, because we did have Trails of Cold Steel 3. A new demo went up yesterday. It's available now, so you can go download it on the PlayStation, and your save data from the demo will go over to the full game, which is something that I absolutely love. We just had that with Dragon Quest XI-S. We've had that with Daemon X Machina. So I like these demos where you get a head start and then your stuff just transfers over. That game's out next month, so I would check out the demo, especially if you're a fan. You're probably already going to get it, and this is more of a head start. However, the demo also might sell you on the game if you've never played a Trails of Cold Steel game. It's a good series, and technically you could pick this one up and have fun with it, but the demo's there. Just search for it on the PlayStation Store. I believe there's also a discount if you're a PlayStation Plus member of 25% off of the game, so I would check that one out if you haven't before, and at least grab the demo to see if it's something you'd like. We also had some news from Medieval. It has now gone gold, which means production, development, everything's wrapped. It's on the old blank verbatim Blu-ray disc, as you're seeing here. This was posted up on Twitter by the developer Other Ocean, saying it's the little things with Medieval there, all printed up all nice and everything, ready to go. It's gone gold. Looks kind of like is that gold? I guess that's gold Sharpie. I guess that makes sense. But yes, on a 25 gigabyte Blu-ray disc from Verbatim. And that game, of course, is out in a couple of weeks. I'm looking forward to Medieval, getting back to it. I rented it way back when, but I like the way it was looking on the PlayStation 4. Also, it fits into the Halloween theme going into October, right? So that makes sense as well. I'll be checking it out, but good to see everything is good to go. No weird last second delay or anything. It's gone gold. Now we just gotta wait for it to come out. And guys, some of the quick news of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's talk about this interesting strategy or loophole, you could say, for the eShop. So developers, of course, put their games in the eShop, and then a lot of times it gets immediately buried as soon as it leaves that coming soon or recently released page, and that page gets filled up pretty quick. I mean, we are getting tons of games hitting that eShop, and they're not all quality. In fact, a good bit of them are shovelware games for the most part, and it's kind of hard to navigate the eShop right now with how it is, because it's basically just one big column of games that just keep, pushing its way down and down and down, and then they disappear. In fact, a lot of developers, indie developers, said that it was really good early on in the Switch in the eShop, and it's kind of been a bit of a struggle to be noticed at this time with just how much stuff is there. Unless you're like a big name game like a Hollow Knight, for example, it's tough. It is. And what's interesting here is it seems that developers, specifically indie developers, have figured out a bit of a strategy on how to show up in like the best selling, the on sale section where people frequent, and you get a ton more traffic. This is a write-up with a ton of interviews with different developers on the eShop with Kotaku, and they uncovered some interesting stuff, and it does make me believe at this time that the eShop, it needs an overhaul. If developers are going to this length just to get noticed on the eShop, something should probably change up. They need to separate, I think, the indie games to a degree from the big games, right? And they need to have a spot for like certain priced games and everything. And I think it's just be easier in general. Rating system with stars would help tremendously, so that the ones that are like half a star or 1 star can get buried. I've seen some pretty bad games. I've looked at a game called Basketball that barely worked and barely had any sound effects, and it was really, really bad. But check this out. It's several excerpts from different developers explaining their strategy. Here's one from Seth Scott, who's the developer on Membrane, who said, "We got some visibility in the coming soon section, but we saw that once we were out of that page, our sales would drop to practically nothing. We had the idea to start experimenting with putting it on sale and hopefully get into the great deals section. We want to find the sweet spot where people buy it without thinking about it. We just eclipsed 100,000 sales with our last discount of 99% off." And we went on to get an explanation that just 1% of total sales for that game came from when it was at a regular price. Going on from there, we had Millen, who is a developer on Quest for the Golden Duck, who made it to the digital-only bestsellers list after being discounted from $9.99 to 39 cents. Quite a steep discount there, saying, I cannot compete with companies like Forever Entertainment or Cubic Games, who develop small games and push new ones all the time, so I decided to go into smaller games myself as well. I had been developing a lot of small games in the past, most of those open source or free to download. I started to port some of my old projects to the Switch with updated graphics and improved game mechanics. I sold those games for as low as 19 cents on eShop. The price does not matter much, and it might even be good to keep the price high, but the rankings are done by number of copies sold, so the more units you sell, the more visibility you get, and that is the strategy. That's why you're seeing so many games show up that are like 90% off, 95% off. You might look at it and be like, this game is 50 cents. This game's 30 cents. Why? It's because they're looking for number of sales so they can climb the charts, and some of them have even said, oh yeah, and then we might go back to full price then, because at that point, it's kind of in front of everyone, but they're looking for exposure at that point for their company, their game, and then if people latch on and they get a fan base around it, then they build the next game, and then it's a bit easier to sell. Basically manipulating the eShop, yes, and that's where we are with, the eShop hasn't had an update or any real serious drastic update since launch. It's had some little things, right? We've had some search filters and obviously some of the sections kind of added, but nothing massive. It still looks the same when you really sign in and go through the eShop, and it's still kind of all just thrown together. Seriously, hundreds and hundreds of games showing up pretty consistently on this service. It needs an overhaul, but hey, they're figuring it out. The smaller developers are figuring out ways to claw their way up to the top. I just feel like Nintendo could probably do it. They've done such a good job with indie games so far. They just need to really get that last little bit with the storefront, and then I think they'll be the place to go for indie developers, even over Steam. Next up, let's talk about E3 and some large changes. This comes the way of a leak from GameDaily.biz, who managed to intercept several slides that appear to be going to business partners, kind of detailing some ideas they had going into next year's E3. Now, E3 has been stagnant to declining. Now, I believe they declined a couple thousand attendees, but we don't really know the split between media and consumer and everything, and they've opened it to the public, and it's been badly crowded since then. People complain about waiting in line for hours and hours, like 4 or 5 hours, just to play Link's Awakening, for a little bit. It's a little out of hand, I would say, and it's definitely difficult for, I would say, the industry in general, whether it's press or media or whoever, to get interviews and actually get information, as opposed to trying to navigate the labyrinth of people at E3. It used to be closed off, which made it a bit easier, and of course you're running between halls because they're not positioned well. It's a whole thing. So after reading through this, it looks like they're going to attempt to make some changes, some for the good and some not so good. So let's actually go over it. This is probably the best slide that you can see that summarizes everything. It basically says what's new at E3. And it says newly conceived and designed show floor, which from what I can tell, looking over it, is just going to try to make it more efficient so you're not running back and forth through long hallways to get to meetings one after the other. The other one is a digital E3 experience that's more or less going to be for the people at home, where more and more people are, I think, comfortable watching it from home. I think people like going for the experience, but for the most part, I think if people had to decide, they would just stay home and experience it. The industry/media day is a great idea, although I think we're seeing a lot more people say, maybe it should just be for industry for the most part, and then E3 should have a whole nother conference or convention that's for the fans and consumers and everything. But the industry media day is basically for example, if it's like a, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it would be like Friday, just as an example there. But of course, E3 goes through the week, so they would probably have it like the first day of the show. They would just have closed off for the industry, and then the rest of the way through would be consumers and everything. More players and fans. Apparently, they're going to be allowing up to 10,000. I've also seen as high as 15,000, which is crazy because it was already shoulder to shoulder and lines were already crazy long, but they're going to attempt it. And then PR opportunities for companies to enhance brands, opportunities to market directly to players, social media influencer engagement, celebrity engagement program, which we'll go over that in a second. And then attendee app scheduling. The idea there is that you'll be able to actually schedule out when you want to go and demo games, which is a good idea. Nintendo did that with, I believe, with the warp pipe scheduling, so that makes a ton of sense to me. And then this odd thing I don't know if they just made this up, the queue attainment to allow for line engagements, that queue attainment. And I guess the idea there is to just give you something to do while you're waiting in line for hours at a time if you don't schedule. I'm not really sure how they would make that happen. I feel like most of us would just take a portable game system, like a Switch or your cell phone, and just do that the whole time. And then paid media partnerships, which is also an interesting one. Photo ops, video game tournaments, sure, why not? But the celebrity engagement program is interesting, weird even. I guess they're going to have celebrities come out and play games and just appear there. I don't really think they need that. Bring the games. We're all there for the games, right? I don't know if anyone really wants to hang out and watch, as they say in one example, NBA players play 2K. I think we just want to go there and play Final Fantasy VII Remake, right? Or play the next Metroid, or play the next Zelda, or play Ghost of Tsushima, right? I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we would rather do than see celebrities at E3. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. It seems like an odd situation there. And then the paid media sponsorships, apparently there's looking into places like CNBC, just as an example, to come in and do a show around them and everything. Seems like an odd choice to spend your money, but okay, sure. E3 is in trouble. I don't think this is going to help them much. I think just in general, even the big brands are like, well, why are we coming here when we can just do a Nintendo Direct, an Inside Xbox, or a State of Play and get the exact same information across? It just seems odd to me to do that. But hey, people like the experience, I guess. The live stage stuff was fun when they did it. Even Microsoft doesn't technically hold it at E3. They hold it at a venue near there. But let me know what you guys think about this leak from E3. I don't think it's going to help much. They might even have to move E3 out of LA and go somewhere else, because it's not overall the best experience. Everyone's just so cramped and close together there, but Let me know what you guys think down below about E3 and their chances to, I guess, go forward for the next 5 years. Think they'll be around 5 years from now? Let me know. Next up, we had Apple Arcade launch. Seemed to surprise some developers, by the way, but they launched into beta and everything. Now, of course, this is Apple's subscription service where they're providing several games, and I have to say, some of them look pretty good, and it appears to be over 50. I think they showcased 15 originally. There's over 50 on the Apple Arcade. Here's actually a massive list that's courtesy of Mac Rumors, and there are quite a bit. I saw Shantae on there, which is an awesome game, of course. Lego Brawls, Frogger, Rayman. There are some good. Oceanhorn 2, which was an odd one to see pop up there. Cat Quest 2, which, hey, the first Cat Quest was very fun, so I don't want to hear it. But there's quite a bit here. It's $4.99 per month, and it's basically their Game Pass. I guess Game Pass is the best way to describe it. And it works across a range of devices is the idea. Apple products, of course. So they've showcased the iPhone, the iPad, I believe just Mac computers in general. Not a bad idea, especially since they've surprised me a bit with their lineup. It's actually pretty good value for $5 a month. I think they have something here. I know everyone's chasing the subscription model, but this has some value to it. So I don't have anything Mac, I'm not going to sign up to it, but for people who use their iPhone a lot and maybe already buy games, this is a good, I think this is a good option to have. But let me know what you think about the Apple Arcade, because it came out with all these games and surprised me a bit. But I'm liking what I'm seeing there, and honestly, if I was someone who was really into the Mac ecosystem, I'd probably be interested. And in our last bit of news, let's talk a bit about Insomniac and Sunset Overdrive, because we, of course, know, well, Sony bought Insomniac, so we assume that they own Sunset Overdrive. We weren't really sure. Sean Layden didn't even seem too sure. He needed to get the files he said and everything and look overall, but it does appear that they do own Sunset Overdrive. I don't know if they'll do anything with them, with any of that, but they did confirm to Inside Games, as Shuhei Yoshida did say, yes, we own all of their past properties, IPs, and all of that. So we've gone to the point now where, of course, Sunset Overdrive was only on the Xbox, and now it's probably going to get some sort of release just because, it's like, why not? Sony knows how to play the console war game, right? They do. And the one thing they would probably like to do just to do it is just take Sunset Overdrive and just put it on the PlayStation. Now, would they do a sequel? Maybe, but I feel like Insomniac is going to be a bit busy with the next Spider-Man. I don't think they're going to be like, well, we got to hold off on Spider-Man. We gotta do the Sunset Overdrive. Sunset Overdrive 2 has to happen. I think they're gonna do Spider-Man instead. It's sold way more than Sunset Overdrive. That makes sense to me. And honestly, they might even put them on a VR project alongside of that, because Insomniac can develop multiple games at once. That's not too hard. Although the secondary games they do are smaller VR projects. Seems like it makes sense for Sony, since of course they're gonna push the PlayStation VR 2. However, at least this means that Sunset Overdrive is with Sony, and there's a chance that they could eventually grab that IP and use it for something like a sequel. Now, I do think, again, you'll see some sort of release just to do it, just to put it out there, and hey, maybe they'll even judge sales to see how interested their audience is in a Sunset Overdrive sequel. But we'll see. They at least confirmed to us that it is there, but Yoshida didn't seem that interested, at least at that time, in anything really with Sunset Overdrive or any type of sequel talk. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day, as you're seeing here. This one is from Retrospect, saying, remember, many promotions gave Game Pass for free, so the sales could be inflated. And that is correct. They're going to be doing this for a while. They have a number in mind, how many recurring subscriptions they want for Game Pass before they have to stop doing these promotions where they're almost giving it away for free. At one point, it's like, what, $1 or $2, and you get 3 months of Game Pass, and it would stack, and it was ridiculous. And some people I know now have Game Pass, and they spent like $10 total, and they have it for like the next 2 years. It's something crazy. So they're basically giving away Game Pass to get you on board, to get you interested, to make you feel like you need it. That was something that Netflix did a long time ago, or they kind of still do it now. They do the 30-day thing, but for a while there, when they first started doing streaming, they would do months of free Netflix, right? They would do it where it was $1. This isn't new what Microsoft's doing. They're just doing it like way more than I've ever seen any company do it, because this is what they want. They want a subscription service that everyone buys into, and then they have recurring revenue flat out. And then they know how much they can spend on games, and then, of course, we'll get better and better games, I assume, to continue pushing up the entire process. So It seems weird, right, that you can just go on and download Gears 5 and not have to buy it, but Microsoft's content with it, and I'm content just going on and downloading Gears 5 without spending $60. So at least for now, it's like a complete win across the board for us. We'll see if Game Pass holds up, though, and if it can reach that level that Microsoft wants it to. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit the like button. It really helps out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about today, whether it's these E3 leaks and E3 attempting to, I guess, kind of salvage what's happening, because after that, the doxing, they broke a lot of trust with the media. Some of them don't even want to go there anymore, and it seems like E3 is struggling bad with Sony not even showing up, Nintendo not doing live presentations anymore. Yes, they're there, but they're not doing live presentations. Then Microsoft's not even in the building doing theirs. Also, let me know what you think about developers seeming to kind of manipulate the eShop to get, I guess, just be in front of consumers much more than they would have before. Do you think Nintendo should be working to change up the eShop, and how would you have them do it? Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.